Hello everyone, welcome back to the Linux series. In previous video we saw how to install Linux inside Windows. In this video we will see what are the different ways of accessing Linux from within Windows. Obviously the first way is to from your VirtualBox manager you need to start running your virtual machine. Then it will open up a terminal. Here you can directly start accessing Linux. That is one way. There are also other ways of accessing Linux terminal from different software. You might ask a question, why do I need to use a different method when VirtualBox itself is working? I'm going to quickly show a demo. I will just use DNF. You don't have to worry about what I'm typing here and why I'm typing all these things, but it's just to understand the benefit of using a different software to reach your Linux server. I'm going to list all the installed software here. Now it listed me a long list of software. Now with this terminal, in the terminal which is provided to me by VirtualBox, I'm not able to scroll up. When I try to use my mouse, it doesn't allow me to scroll up because there are limitations with the default SSH terminal provided by either by the VirtualBox or with the PAM or whichever method that you are using. So to resolve all these issues, we will try PuTTY. It's a very popular and most used software. It's a free SSH and a telnet client. I have already downloaded the latest version and installed it in my PC. This will give me a terminal, same like what VirtualBox gives me. It will give me a terminal, but that terminal has a lot of features, options, and it gives me more control over it. And second one is WinSCP. This is nothing but software with a GUI wherein you can share files from your Windows into your Linux. You can just drag and drop the files. It will be very quick and very easy to do. So I have installed both the software. I will also suggest you to go ahead and install both the software. We will quickly see how the software works. First I will go and open PuTTY. Before we begin with setting up, the PuTTY requires the IP address or the host name of the terminal where we want to connect. I have some Linux servers running on the cloud and I have their IP address as well. In case I want to connect to them, I will use the IP address for the cloud servers. In your case, if you are at present, for this video, we are still running inside VirtualBox. We have not yet went to the cloud yet. That cloud part will come later. So at present, let me clear the screen. I need to find the IP address of my virtual machine. There are two ways how we can do this. One way is using a command prompt called ifconfig, and this works with Ubuntu, CentOS, Fedora, and other versions of Linux. But here in Alma, it doesn't work. So I have to use other way, which is IP ADDR, IP address. Obviously, if I take a look at here, there are two numbers. First one, it has some values, and second one, it has some more values. If you take a look at number 2, I have an IP address called 192.168.0.136, so which means my Linux is running at, virtual machine is running at that IP address. Let me open up command prompt and try to ping and see whether it is reaching out or not. Ping 192.168.0.136, and yes, it is working. So I have something running there, and from this screen I could see that it is nothing but my Linux. So I will go ahead. I already have a session called Alma. I will just load it, and the value is 192.168.0.136 and port is 22. Obviously for SSH the port is 22, and don't worry about port at present. We will look into what is port and how they are useful at a later stage in this series. There we go. I opened up PuTTY terminal. Now first thing, it looks same like a terminal it looks same like the terminal which is provided by VirtualBox. But when I press Control on my keyboard, I'm pressing and holding Control, and at the same time I'm going to press right mouse button. When I do this, I get a additional feature. If I try to directly press right mouse button, it will not work. It will try to only paste whatever I have copied before. It will not open me the properties or the context menu. So to avoid that, instead of directly pressing the right mouse button, I am going to press Control, press and hold it, and then press right mouse button. Change settings. I am going to appearance, change, and here first I will increase the size. I will take a FIRA code regular 14, apply. Now my screen is a little bit clear. I don't need to close the virtual machine. Of course, I should not close the virtual machine, or else my server will be shut down. So let me minimize it. Now I will minimize VirtualBox also. Now here we have root, then let me enter the password. There we go. This is one way of accessing Linux from Windows using PuTTY, SSH and the Telnet client. Let us do some checks here. IP address, and I could obviously see that it is 192. So this is fine. Let me clear the screen, clear, and I will check who am I. I am root, and if I want more details, I'll just press W and enter, and I have connected into the Linux terminal from two different terminals. One is TTY1, which is obviously this terminal which is provided to us by VirtualBox. The second one is something else, which is the PuTTY. So there we go. This is one way of connecting to Linux from Windows. Now let me clear the screen, and then I will explain you why WinSCP is needed. There are multiple times or several times when you need to share some files from your Windows into your Linux virtual machine. Let me show an example. Currently, you don't have to worry about what is LS, what is CD, all those things. We will see them shortly in the next video. But all the key takeaway point from what I'm trying to do here is to understand why we need WinSCP at a later point of time. If you don't understand all these commands, don't worry about it. We will see them later. I'm going to create a directory or a folder inside this Linux. I will create a directory here, and I will call it as shared. And shared is created. Let me go inside shared, and currently there are no files. What if I want to share some files from my Windows and then take them inside Linux? For instance, from my pictures, I have some images from Nginx, and let me have some PDFs, or just for a namesake, I will add some text file. I will call it as 123. So I have a text file, I have some images. What if I need them all inside the shared folder? VirtualBox provides us a way of doing that. So that will be called as shared folders. All you need to do is you need to create a shared machine folder, but this is not very easy to do. The files will still be present inside your Windows, and it will just be mounted as a folder inside Linux, and at any time the connection is lost, the folders are not accessible inside Linux. So these kind of loading or mounting, this one is not required at this point of time, and it also requires guest additions to be installed. There is something called guest additions which you need to install, and both in Windows and also in Linux. For this to work, this is very difficult and critical. The main key point here is, in this video we are using VirtualBox and virtual machine, but in reality, in production environment, you will be running Linux in a different environment, in a cloud server. From your local Windows, you will be trying to copy the files there. At that point, you will not be having VirtualBox or anything else. So that's the reason why we need WinSCP to copy the files. You cannot just like that drag and drop the files into the terminal. So let me open WinSCP. Here the concept is going to be the same. I need to give a host name, which is 192.168.0.136, and let me enter the username and password. I have done it. Save, and yes, the connection is made. Now I could see that the left hand side, what I have is my local machine. The C, I have my C drive, I have my local. If I can go into my documents, and then I have my pictures here. My pictures, where is my pictures? We will get to that later, but I have everything else what I need here. And in the right hand side, I have my root If I go into the root, I have the shared folder which I created here. I can just drag and drop some files from here to there, and then it will directly start working. For instance, let's say I have a file, Excel file. Let me drag and drop, and then I have some PPT, parents PP. This is nothing but a file for my family. Then I have some PNG file. Let's also try to add some CSV file is there. Let me open the CSV file. Okay, this is enough. I will go into Linux terminal now. I will just do a list again, and I got all my files inside. If I want to do something with those files, for instance, if I want to see what is present in the CSV, I can do cat 2016. There we go. The content of the CSV files are here now. Let me clear the screen, and that's it. So this is the reason why we need WinSCP. So I will just recap again. The reason why I'm using PuTTY is, I still didn't give you the reason, right? Not only about increasing the screen size. Let us do DNF list installed. Now I got so much more. Now here I can directly go and scroll up, and I can see everything. Even in terminals, you can still do that with the help of, you can grep something, you can show the head and you can show the tail, but that is more work. This is very easy to process, and there are a lot of other features from PuTTY as well. At the end of the day, PuTTY is nothing but a terminal, and WinSCP is nothing but a GUI based file transfer system. That's it. We will see in another video. Thank you.